I've been waiting to move away, Alan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to our January 6, 2026 Board of Education meeting. May I ask you to all please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just as a reminder tonight, housekeeping item. As part of our ongoing commitment to an inclusive community engagement, those joining virtually can now email questions and comments to SWR BOE Meeting at k12.newyork.us for inclusion during our second public comment period. Residents wishing to make comments or raise questions, please sign up with the district clerk and state your name, address, and topic. To allow for public participation, a period not to exceed 30 minutes shall be set aside during the first part of each board meeting for public comment on items relevant to tonight's meeting. A second 30-minute time period will be set aside at the end of each board meeting for a public comment on matters pertaining to the district but not on tonight's agenda. These periods may be extended by a majority vote of the board. Public discussion is prohibited on matters related to staff and students in which their reputation, privacy, or rights to due process or the rights of others to due process could in some way be violated. All comments should be directed to the board president. The board president may choose to respond to these comments or refer them to the superintendent or other board members for reply or consideration for later response. All comments should always be respectful, non-defamatory, and should maintain a level of decorum appropriate for a meeting of a public body. Thank you. First up tonight is our approval of our agenda. May I get a motion, please? Jim L. Megan, any discussion or question on tonight's agenda? All in favor? 6-0. Next up, we have our superintendent's report. Mr. Poole, first meeting of the year.
First meeting of the year. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome. Thank you very much. As usual, I'm going to start off the superintendent's report with an update from our ex officio student members.
I have applied early action to 19 universities with the pursuit of finding a strong nursing program. My goal is to be admitted to a direct admit program where I would enter and begin nursing courses as a freshman, making schools like Clemson University, the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and the University of Delaware my top choices. I'm interested in being part of a large community with many opportunities for involvement, such as study abroad, various clubs, and volunteer experiences. I've submitted a personal essay as well as many supplemental essay responses with extensive help from Ms. Gilroy in the Writing Center, and teacher and counselor letters of recommendation with the generosity and help of Mr. Gabriel, Ms. Gianfala, and Mr. Rosado. I hope to receive a final decision from schools by mid-February to the start of March. Thank you.
I have applied to 9 different colleges and have heard back from just about all of them. I've gotten accepted to all so far. I plan to major in special education. I plan to major in special education once I commit to a school. I have had a lot of help and support from a bunch of my teachers that I would like to thank. I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Gould, Mrs. Mitchell, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Nohill, and Mr. Rosado for writing my letters of recommendation, but also supporting me through this stressful time. I would also like to thank Mrs. Hygum and Mr. Mitchell with the help for checking over my college essay. I got accepted to both SUNY New Paltz and Oneonta, which are my top 2 choices, and I hope to commit to one of these schools within the next couple of weeks.
I recently finished applying to 11 schools for electrical engineering. So far, I've heard back from 4: Penn Tech, UMass Dartmouth, SUNY Polytech, and New York Institute of Technology. All schools have accepted me. My top schools as of right now are Cooper Union, Franklin W. Olin College of Engineering, and the Simon STEM Scholars Program at Stony Brook. I hope to partake in helping research programs at whatever college I choose to go to. I've submitted all of my essays and recommendation letters. I would like to thank Mrs. Sanders, Ms. Frazier for their letters of recommendation, and Ms. Nazer for the help with editing my writing pieces. I'm excited to see where my applications take me.
A huge congratulations to the Shoreham-Wading River wrestling team on capturing the 2025 Matin Duels title on December 28th, and most recently our very own Jansen Duels this past Saturday. The Wildcats went 6-0, defeating top-tier programs from these different sections across New York State. The Wildcats are now officially undefeated with the 13 win to start the season and 3 tournament titles already under their belts. The girls and boys varsity basketball teams continued their undefeated season with just over 6 weeks left of regulation season. The girls' winning streak continued with a landslide win against John Glenn last night with a score of 76-23. Varsity cheerleading has qualified for nationals and will be competing in game day and competition cheer at the end of the month at Disney. They are also competing in the Newsday competition this upcoming Sunday at Hofstra. On December 23rd, the high school had their coffee house show the day before a holiday break. It consisted of many musical acts, host skits, and even a magic trick. This year can definitely be marked down as a great show.
Auditions for the high school musical Grease were held in the auditorium January 5th and today, January 6th. The Drama Club Google Classroom will have more information if you are interested in getting involved. For students who are taking Regents exams in January, the 20th to 23rd, the school is offering Saturday Regents tutorials on January 10th and January 17th. See the flyer on Student Square for more information on sessions. Estibor High School has a brand new state-of-the-art multimedia production studio. If you have ideas for a call name and a digitally produced logo, the deadline to submit your work has been extended to January 12th. A representative from Suffolk County Community College will be at the high school on Wednesday, January 7th. Any student applying should visit guidance to arrange an appointment.
Please come out and support our amazingly talented student musicians at our Winter Showcase concert on Wednesday, the 14th, at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Our school district will be closed Monday, January 19th for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The class of 2026, all caps and gowns must be ordered by Wednesday, the 21st. The second quarter will be ending on January 23rd.
Great job. Thank you very much. Just for a few other happenings across the school district over the last month, over at the middle school, on December 19th, the Quartertones and Chromatics went caroling at the Bristol Assisted Living Facility in Mount Sinai and brought holiday cheer to the residents. 8th grade students will be participating in the annual Engineers Teaching Algebra on January 22nd and 23rd, which is a hands-on experience in the classroom setting, provides fun and engaging experiences in engineering and encourages the pursuit of math and science. And Prodell students are putting on a musical performance of Seussical Jr. beginning January 22nd through the January 24th, a lively show full of imagination, music, and messages about friendship and courage. Seussical Jr. is perfect for the whole family, and tickets are on sale now. I think you can find the link on our website. Over at Wading River, congrats to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders for their wonderful winter concerts this past month, including the 5th grade bell choir. Upcoming at Wading River on Thursday, January 15th, there will be a special internet safety presentations with Dr. Nancy Kaplan and Lamar Lee for all students in grades 4 through 5. And students have launched into the new year with a space-themed Whittle Gym, a standard here in Shoreham-Wading River, where they can explore the solar system with a variety of creative challenges in this very unique phys ed unit to Shoreham-Wading River. Over at Miller Avenue, the 2nd grade chorus under the direction of Miss Cara Doby performed for family and friends on December 15th. It was a great show, singing and dancing and acting. It was a great way to kick off the holiday seasons. And all grades participated in a holiday sing-along, complete with hot cocoa, provided by the Miller Avenue PTO on December 23rd. And as always, thank you to our PTAs and PTOs for all of their support. A couple other notes. The SCMEA has accepted a record, get this, a record 97 students from Shoreham-Wading River to participate in their Division 1, 2, and 3 festivals. Congratulations to these band, orchestra, and choir students who were successful on their NYSBA solos and recommended by their teachers. I want to give a thank you to Councilwoman Jane Bonner, who has issued certificates recognizing our Shoreham-Wading River students who achieved outstanding athletic accomplishments for the fall sports season. She extends her sincere appreciation to the Board of Education and district for supporting these students and creating an environment where students can excel both on and off the field. So thank you to Ms. Bonner for those recognitions. Today, a parent square went out to parents and staff about our AI committee. It's time to do a little bit more work about getting our students ready for the workplace and the future with artificial intelligence playing a major role. I do want to give a shout out as well. I am always incredibly amazed with the Wildcat Pause, another long-standing tradition in Shoreham-Wading River. There are 25 students that are involved in the Shoreham-Wading River, the Wildcat Pause, and I wanted to give a shout out to at least a shout out to the editors who are Giovanna Aceto, Chelsea DeCalabas, Ayla Copps, and Alyssa Wood. Great jobs, great research, great writing, just tremendous work for our students in journalism. So great job to the students in that. On tonight's agenda, there are several presentations. I know one of our student ex officio members mentioned the multimedia studio, so we're going to share a little bit of update on the multimedia studio. There's an enrollment and class size update. There's a presentation of the 5-year capital plan that was reviewed and approved by the Space and Facilities Committee meeting. And there's also a district reserve update, which I just want to give a little note about the district reserves update and the budget process for the upcoming school year. Every year in October, November, no different this year, we began developing a draft expenditure budget for the 26-27 school year. At the end of this month, usually right around January 20th, we will hear from the state. We'll get a good understanding of our state aid revenue for the 26-27 school year, and shortly thereafter, we'll be conducting public budget workshops, in the middle of the winter into the early spring leading up to the budget vote. Very proud to note the district has been prudent and responsible by applying economies and efficiencies each year, staying within a tax cap with an average levy of 1.8% since 2020 and an average budget growth of 2.7%. I want to thank the community for their ongoing support of our students and schools. Mr. Arcuri will be sharing our reserve position this evening, which we do annually during budget season. He will share that recurring new revenue has not kept up with rising costs of operating our schools. Just last year alone, the transportation increase was greater than the value of the additional new revenue generated by the tax levy and state aid. You'll notice in the presentation our use of reserves has increased recently and balances are decreasing, and that we operated at a deficit last year when comparing recurring revenue to actual costs. Our external independent audit report, which contains this information and all the information in Mr. Arcuri's presentation, was reviewed by the audit committee this fall. It's available on our website, and every fall it's also published in a local paper as a full-page publication of the audit report. So we're working on the budget. The challenges do lie ahead as we work to draft the budget that maintains our world-class programs, supports the outstanding academic, artistic, and athletic accomplishments of our students that have been shared at meetings this fall across the fall here at these meetings. We'll need to have some conversation about revenue, use of reserves, programs, but we'll need some careful thoughts and consideration as we put the budget together, this year. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Next up, opportunity for board members. Anyone want to share anything? Anything? All right, I'll just add one quick item. I just want to shout out to Mrs. Gould and Mr. Milheiser. I had the opportunity of listening to the radio interview on our peer mentoring program, in which it featured everything about the program, how it's grown and become such a really an impactful, really opportunity for our students here, inclusion at the high school. And thank to Maddie Cummings on the end over there. Maddie, you were the featured student, so it was great to have an ex officio student member from our board as part of that. But thanks again. I know how impactful that program is, and having had my daughters in those classes as well. So thanks to those teachers as well. Anything else? Anyone else? Yeah, it's a pretty good radio interview if you get a chance. Bob did a nice job. It was really well received. I hope others get the chance to listen to it. Next up would be our statements from residents on our agenda items only. Mrs. Kirschis, do I have anyone signed up for agenda items?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Going to move right along with our agenda. We have our reports and reviews, as Mr. Poole had mentioned. First, we're going to get a media room update with Mr. Meinster. So, kind of turn to you. No? Mrs. Walbauer?
Mrs. Walbauer.
I'm so sorry. Mrs. Walbauer, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to share with the board, cabinet, and community the exciting updates that we have been making to the Shoreham-Wading River High School Multimedia Production Studio. In preparing for this update, I did a little research on the history of the studio. I spoke with retired English teacher Bernie Scherer, who shared that he started up the studio in the 70s and kept it going until his retirement in the early 2000s. Ms. Highcomb took over for a while, but as the equipment began to become outdated, the studio use had began to decline. Eventually, the studio was transformed into a classroom and was being used primarily as a study hall space for the last several years. Ms. Hansen shared this photo from the 1980s yearbook of what the control room of the studio used to look like and what the students were doing and producing back then. I also found out from some very supportive teachers that Shoreham-Wading River High School has a famous graduate who is an Academy Award-winning creator, designer, and producer, best known for his visual effects work on The Matrix. Mr. Scherer shared that John lived in the studio. That was his exact quote. He lived there. To think that this creative mind was cultivated here in our very own 1980s classrooms, studio, and stage makes this production studio project even more inspiring. And there you can see some details behind his success. John Gaeta. So a few years ago, with the help of English teachers, Vinnie Ball and Sarah Tren, we updated our traditional journalism and public speaking elective courses to be more in line with modern digital media. We partnered with SUNY Stony Brook's School of Communication and Journalism to be able to offer college credit for the high school's new and improved courses, Journalism in the Digital Age and Speaking for Impact. Our revised curricula included aspects of broadcast journalism, producing audio and video content, writing and editing scripts, operating cameras and audio equipment, and conducting live interviews, as well as other media like podcasting. As a follow-up to these course updates and to support the newly created Mac Lab, Mr. Ball, Mr. Gilly, and I also proposed revitalizing the original Shoreham-Wading River High School Media Club to become a media production club. Since their inception, these courses and the club have provided students with the opportunity to interact with the community on a professional level as they cover events and conduct interviews that are fit for digital publication. And Mr. Poole also mentioned the print paper as well as the online journalism. So in addition to examining and discussing appropriate journalistic practices in these courses, students learn about the basics of photography and film. Students gain hands-on experience that emulates journalistic standards. Reporting and editing allows students the chance to collaborate with their peers in a variety of situations. Two students, for example, might provide play-by-play commentary on a school event, while another group is interviewing a teacher. Over the last few years, both the courses and the club have been making use of existing AV equipment, the Mac Lab and video, audio, and photography editing software. But it was in progress. So as we are learning and growing, and now participating in broadcast awards for senior high, also known across Long Island as the BASH Awards, and their professional development, we continue to produce award-winning journalism and film. After exploring various different school broadcast studios and programs, we were inspired to take the next step of revitalizing and reconfiguring the old TV studio into a modern industry standard space for multimedia production. It has been a work in progress and luckily not a heavy lift, since we were able to build upon the infrastructure of the original studio's scaffolding, electrical drops, and outlets. All that technical stuff I learned about in this process. Thanks to Mr. Segerson and his crew, we were able to build the anchor desk in-house. They even made that wonderful logo, 3D. Mr. Azzini was helpful in finding us some existing flooring and helping hang the sound baffle boards in an economical way. Mr. Esposito and the tech department have also been an important part of setting up the AV equipment and software programs. And Mr. Botnis and Mr. Puglisi has also helped guide this work. Without all of this help, we would not be where we are today. And this is what the current space looks like today. I hope you all get a chance to stop by and check it out in person. So our ultimate goal that we are working toward is a daily live Shoreham-Wading River High School broadcast. However, we know that will take more time, more development, and resources. But we are off to an amazing start, having recently produced a number of broadcast news packages in the studio. The first series aired on December 5th and was shown during home base to all high school students and teachers. Here is a little sample of the amazing job the students, Mr. Ball and Mr. Botnis, did. And we're just going to show a couple minutes of the video for all the community to see.
Good morning, Wildcats, and welcome to the first SWR News broadcast.
I'm Chelsea DeCalvis,
And I'm Alyssa Wood.
and we will be your hosts. For our first story, two of our reporters, Mia Mangano and Alexi Ginter, were on the scene covering the first annual Gilmore Game, which honored Coach Adrian Gilmore, who had a huge impact on the SWR community. Let's take a look.
Local high school soccer teams came together to remember Coach Adrian Gilmore and her legacy. More than a coach, Gilmore was a mentor, a teacher, and an inspiration. Over 14 seasons, she led SWR to 6 Suffolk County soccer titles, 3 Long Island championships, and a state championship. Shaylin Barbera spoke on what Coach Gilmore meant to her.
We all want to play for her, we all want to win for her, to honor her, because that's just a requirement of what she expected us to do, winning counties last year, winning LICs, and getting to go upstate 2 years in a row. It just truly means so much.
Since her passing in April, the SWR community has carried forward her spirit. This fall, the girls' soccer team dedicated their season in her memory. Coach Lydia Kessel commented on what this special game meant to her.
Just every time I come to the field, it brings me back to my time with her. She just is SWR soccer, and it felt like something that was needed. We really needed to recognize how much she contributed and really made this program.
Gilmore Day featured more than just a soccer match between SWR and her alma mater, William Floyd. It was a full community event, raffles, food, and a chance for everyone to contribute to the cause. It was a day full of promise that Coach Gilmore's vision, her lessons, and her passion will continue to live on in every athlete, student, and supporter here at SWR and on Long Island.
For SWR News, I'm Mia Mangano.
And I'm Alexa Ginther.
Chelsea, you played in the game. What was the atmosphere like on and off the field?
It was great. We were able to win it just for Gilmore.
For our next story, Riley Keneally and Stephen
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Botnis. So I cannot express to you the amount of work that goes into just that little bit of publication, and also how very proud we are of our students and of being able to have a medium to showcase what amazing things are going on in the Shoreham-Wading River community, how important our teachers are to us, our students, and everything that's going on. So what I'm going to do right now is turn this over to our two pros and our lead anchors, Alyssa and Chelsea, who are going to speak to that experience, and then to Mr. Ball, who's going to talk a little bit about the process and also the future plans.
Good evening. I'm Chelsea DeCalabas, and I'm in journalism too. Last spring, for the first time, instead of writing a print story like we usually would, Mr. Ball had a change of plans, and we began working on video journalism. We created broadcast packages which required B-roll footage, on-screen interviews, video editing, writing a script, and recording a voiceover. The story that I pitched, for instance, required me to go into the community and capture the essence of the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Rocky Point. This year, I worked with Alyssa to report on the changes taking place at the school store. With more experience in broadcasting, we were able to take it to the next level.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Wood, and I am in Journalism 3. With a good amount of experience in broadcasting, Chelsea and I had the opportunity to showcase our abilities by creating our first ever news broadcast. We had a hands-on experience of what really goes on in a real broadcast studio. We created a script to read off the teleprompter that had been well rehearsed in order to stay on good tempo while speaking. While we were recording, we also had students from the Journalism and Media Production Club working the cameras and audio. Once we were all finished, we went straight to editing the video, putting all the video clips together to create our news broadcast. We're looking forward to the broadcast growing in the months and years to come.
Thank you. That's tremendous.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to take a second to acknowledge once more the work that Alyssa and Chelsea did here. It's not easy to put yourself out there on a broadcast that the entire high school is going to see. So if we could just give them a round of applause once more. They've truly done a fantastic job, and they've been helpful in putting this together every step of the way. The journalism class this year is quite a bit different than what it was in years past. Previously, students would be contributing to the school paper that we saw earlier tonight. But this year, with the help of Alyssa and Chelsea, sort of really planned out what the class was going to look like, and we decided essentially that it would probably be most beneficial if we essentially split things in half, where half of the students are producing stories for the paper, and then the other half are producing video packages. And they switch off each quarter, and they get a taste of what everything is like. And that's in addition to, as Ms. Wallbauer said, the news literacy component that they're doing for ACE through Stony Brook. A couple other things I want to touch on here. One thing that the journalism program is super useful for is just getting students out into the community, getting them out of their comfort zone, interviewing people in the community, conducting themselves professionally when not only requesting and writing up requests for interviews, but when it comes to put the recorder or put the camera in someone's face, we talk about journalistic ethics a great deal. You always have to represent yourself, explain that this is going to be published for an audience, for wide consumption, so on and so forth. And I think that you guys see, if you've had any interaction with them, I really do pride myself in, teaching them those ropes. Another thing that you will have noticed in the broadcast there is what we call the voice of news. And that's the way in which we are expected to write and present the information. If you turn on any news broadcast, they all sound, there's a tone to it, right? And that is what we're talking about when we're talking about the voice of news. It's not only how the script is written and presented, but it's how the interviews are filmed. It's the expectations for a variety of B-roll shots, not just looking at a far wide shot of, a horizon somewhere while something is actually taking place. And we also talk about, of course, the difference between writing for print journalism versus audio and video for broadcast. Finally, the Mac Lab is another component here that we pair with the TV studio, where students are able to use industry standard software like Premiere Pro to edit together the newscast. And I really do think that the students take a great amount of pride in the final version that you see here, as well as the newspaper, because it is serious. That's something that other districts don't always have, but you see the serious nature and the way in which the stories are presented. I think it helps them understand the importance and the impactfulness of journalism. Thank you, guys.
So you see their background. If we went back to the slide before, that was the big green screen. So they even made those types of choices.
Very nice.
So thank you so much. Just the conversations keep going on and on. Ms. Ferry and I had just recently spoken about possible sports broadcasts and maybe seeing that shaping up in the future. And then in addition to journalism and sports, there's music. So here you can see two of our high school students, Logan and Steven, performing during Coffee House just a few weeks ago. They did an amazing job. Coffee House in and of itself is just a reminder of the amazing talent we have here that we need to spread wide, get it out there so everybody can see these amazing students and what they're accomplishing. So Logan and Steve, with the help of Mr. Botanist, they think I don't know this, but they've been sneaking into the studio and recording music, of course supervised, but they've been doing this for quite a while as the studio has come into creation. And having my office right next to the director's office, right next to the studio, I have been able to have the pleasure of hearing their musical talents and their creations over the last year or so. So we are really looking forward to opening our doors to more music, more theater students, even to our performance poets. You're doing a great job as well. And there are limitless possibilities. So Mr. Botanist, can I go back one? Thank you. Podcasting as well. So Ms. Hansen has been supporting multiple teachers and students with various podcasting projects. Some students have even been motivated to start to create some of their own podcasts under her supervision. This has all been happening for the last few years in the very small makerspace area of the library. But we're working toward expanding that, hopefully, into the new multimedia production studio soon. And our Speaking with Impact course has already developed a unit to podcast. Hopefully they will be there in the spring. So again, multimedia production, how that's transformed from just TV, studio production, into multimedia. And the last portion of the evening, I want to mention that an important part of the success of the new multimedia production studio will be the naming and branding of the space and its broadcasts. We put together a student contest and entry form to collect the students' ideas and are looking forward to seeing what call names and digital logos they create and submit for consideration. Submissions are due next Monday. We did extend it a little bit, so please help us spread the word. This has been a collective effort, and I would again like to thank the administration, the Board of Education, teachers, and the students who have contributed to this project so far. We look forward to further collaborations, more award-winning productions, and showcasing the talents of our students and helping to make the school-to-community connections, as well as connections to experts in the field, and maybe someone even like John Gaeta, our Shoreham-Wading River Oscar-winning grad. So that's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Walbauer.
Questions?
Thank you, Ms. Walbauer. I just want to say, first off, you're so spot on with so many things. Mr. Ball, thank you for the creativity and bringing together the digital, the media, and the print versions, and expanding for Alyssa and Chelsea and giving them that experience, and others in our school district. Just amazing. I really applaud you. I think, Ms. Walbauer, you mentioned Ms. Hansen is running the podcast. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So shout out to Ms. Hansen for doing that. That's amazing. And I had to lean over and tap Mr. Poole, because we always refer to him as Ricky. I never heard his last name always said so consistently. Sorry, Ricky, Mr. Botanist, right? So I said, who is...
Oh, Patinas.
Oh, Patinas.
I'm sorry. I always know him as Ricky too, so I
Oh, there you
didn't know
go.
what to
Okay,
say.
thank you. So Mr. Patinas, that's why I
Patinas.
didn't recognize it. So there's the explanation. So obviously, Mr. Patinas Coffee House, for all that participated, I had the opportunity to sit and watch it. What a tremendous opportunity for the students, the staff, the faculty that were there. Really great opportunity for all of us. But thank you for that, Ms. Walborough. So good to hear about the media room and where we are. And on the naming side, wonder if we all can put in dibs tonight, right, on what that's going to look like? Don't be boring. No no SWR, right? It'll be something good. Well, thank you again for sharing this with all of us.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Everyone good? Okay, thank you. And thanks again, Alyssa and Chelsea, for doing what you've done. All right, so next up, we have our enrollment and class size update. We're going to have Mr. Meinster. Yep. He's already, look at him, he's already moving. He's already there. He's already there.
Good evening, everybody. At this time of year, we typically take a look at our 5-year projections. So I'm going to run through those at this point in time. There we go. So basically, starting off with our current count, which is the 25-26 district-wide enrollment. These are each of the grade levels in our district currently in that first left column. These numbers do not include our self-contained special education classes. So these are our general education, our inclusion classrooms for each of the different grade levels. And what you can see as you look over the next 5 years is that for the most part, we do remain more or less stable. The high school still has a little bit more of declining enrollment to go before we bottom out right around 600 by the time that we get into the next few years. And the other buildings more or less are bouncing around but stable. Taking a look specifically at each of the buildings in Miller Avenue, we project kindergarten each year. Otherwise, what we do is roll for the other grade levels. We just simply roll the number of students we have now into the next year for our projections. So we are projecting about 145 kindergarten students will enter next year. We currently have 152. That is more or less the same. So we're anticipating the same number of sections of kindergarten next year. If those numbers hold, it would be a very slight decrease in the average class size. Grade 1, we see a significant increase in students between our current grade 1 and our current kindergarten. So those students would be moving into grade 1. So we do anticipate that next year's grade 1 will be one section higher than our current. And in grade 2, we have the opposite, as that smaller class of 134 moves into second grade and brings that class down by one section. So there is a total of the same number of sections overall at Miller Avenue projected for next year as what we have currently in the building. Moving on to Wading River. What you see here is pretty stable between grade 3 and grade 4 from what we have right now, so no net change in either sections or basically average class size. We do anticipate our grade 5 will decrease as grade 4, which is significantly smaller, moves in there. And as a result, we do anticipate that grade 5 will reduce by one section based on the current projection of students. And in Wading River, we would see a net decrease of one section between this current school year and next year. Of course, that means that 161 students in grade 5 will be moving into grade 6 next year. And so you see here with the middle school, grade 6 will go up about 20 students. Grade 7 has a decrease with it. Grade 8, a small increase. The middle school next year has a very small net increase of 16 students across all three grade levels. And then what you see at the high school is where the remaining declining enrollment is still taking root. And we do anticipate, yet again, next year our 9th grade class will drop from this year's. This year's was a peak, a little bit of an anomaly. So that larger class size will move into grade 10 next year. And grade 12 will go down 25 students. So the high school will have a net decrease of about 30 students between this year and next. Looking over the secondary enrollment projections through the next 5 years as we move from this year into the 2030-2031 school year, What we look at overall at the middle school is a net decline of about 10 students, which again is a reflection of the fact that we have now reached a certain level of stability, grade level to grade level, from what we had as a steady declining enrollment. And again, what we will see is a gradual decline at the high school over the next 5 years, with a net decline of about 30 students. Basically what we're going to lose next year, and then we'll be stable at the high school overall going forward from there, with grade to grade level fluctuations anticipated as the different classes move through our buildings. And that basically covers the projections. Are there any questions regarding the projections and their potential impact on the school?
No, I just would say, look, it looks as if through all the grades we've transitioned, we're now at a certain level. It's pretty much steady at this point, Alan, if you look at the projections and the enrollment. Our class sizes are roughly 150 to 160, Jerry, something like that, right? At this point, coming down?
Yeah, we'll be between 140 and 150, it looks, right?
140 and 150, excuse me.
Maybe 160.
Yeah, and the high school is the one building left where that declining enrollment is still making its way through the building.
Got it. Okay. No, so it's just pretty consistent at this point. Any questions from the board on enrollment? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meister. Okay, next up, we'll have Mr. Rossini to review our 5-year capital plan.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share our 5-year capital plan and all the hard work that goes behind it. So this 5-year capital plan, some of the photos and highlights of some of the work that's been done over the last several years throughout the district. So a capital plan, the goals and the objectives of the capital plan are to project over the next 5 years with financial constraints, building needs, operational benefits, health and safety concerns, legal mandates that may come down from the state, other operational benefits and structural benefits from the district within our available funding sources that are identified this process, what we actually can accomplish. So in this 5-year capital plan, our anticipated funding options at this point are within the general budget, and that will take care of the maintenance portion of this capital plan and capital reserves. So the 5-year capital plan takes us from next school year, 2026, through 2027 school year, and then through the 2030-31 school year. The plan is updated annually and as needed. It's a fluid plan. Just to recap of what's currently going on and what has been very recently completed as part of previous capital plan. These projects align with the capital plan's objectives. The funding sources for the first 2 projects are prior year state aid or the tax stabilization reserve. The Miller Avenue single-use adult bathrooms by the gymnasium, those were driven by building and staff needs and health and safety concerns. They provide 2 additional single-use adult bathrooms. The district-wide electrical infrastructure project has the objective of replacing aging electrical equipment, installing carbon monoxide detection systems to keep up with pending state mandates that are coming, as well as providing health and safety to students and staff. Adding additional electrical equipment to keep up with future uses, all to help to ensure a safe and smooth school operation. The 2017 capital reserve is providing the funding for the district-wide HVAC project. That project has similar goals. It's to replace aging equipment and controls to provide a safe and comfortable instructional environment, installing air conditioning the high school gymnasium to keep up with pending New York State regulations. These projects also replace equipment to stay current with modern refrigerants, as well as help to reduce maintenance and downtime, all again to help ensure a safe and smooth school day operation. The Miller Avenue bathrooms are substantially complete. The electrical infrastructure project is well underway and in progress, and the district-wide HVAC project is also substantially complete. Left and right photos are a before and after of the Miller Avenue bathrooms. The architect did a wonderful job of integrating it into the space, and it's a seamless and very happy addition to the building. It's a before, an in progress photo, and then a completion photo of the interior of one of the bathrooms, and the other one is just a mirror image of that. The electrical infrastructure project is well underway. These photos are of progress photos. We are still not substantially complete, so you'll see some of the panels aren't 100% finished. Again, this is replacing and adding additional electrical infrastructure, controls, switches, breakers, to ensure a safe and successful school day.
Mm-hmm.
These are some photos of some of the equipment that was replaced with the district-wide infrastructure project. The photo on the left is one of the 6 HVAC units that service this auditorium that we're in tonight, and that are providing heating and air conditioning with modern equipment, modern controls, and modern refrigerants. The middle photo is one of the 2 units that service provide heating and air conditioning to the gymnasium here at the high school. And the last photo on the right is the new ductwork and what is visible from the inside of the high school gymnasium. So we currently have a few projects in design phase that'll be funded with the new 2021 capital reserve. The current 2021 capital reserve. Those projects, as listed here, are in design phase and/or up at SCD, New York State, for approval. That will include the high school turf replacement and track replacement here at the high school, and we anticipate, with current projections of design approvals and bidding, to complete this work this summer. The Wading River School partial window and door replacements that will replace the original double hung windows in the front of the school and storefront windows and storefront doors on the south side of the building. Those have a very long lead time, so they're up at state ed for approval, and we don't have an exact anticipated time because of that long lead time. Over at Prodell, we are designing and have submitted to have a few science and the RISE classrooms fully renovated, and we anticipate to complete that this coming summer. And over the next 5 years, there is a district-wide infrastructure and fiber optic cabling project planned, and it will be executed as those equipment and technology need to be replaced. As far as the other side of the plan, so we have a capital side and we have a maintenance side. Our maintenance projects for the 24-25 school year were all substantially completed. We are well underway as part of our maintenance plan for this school year, the 25-26 school year. And these are funded through the general fund in the maintenance lines. 5-year capital plan items that are going to be covered under the annual maintenance budget under the general fund. There are several projects that were developed through the building condition survey and various other proposals, all with the similar objective as what we stated in the beginning, based on all those various needs, mandates, instructional support. Using those funds, we're projecting to spend over the next 5 years here at the high school, $622,000, over at the middle school, $217,000, Miller Avenue, $270,000, and the Wading River just at $495,000, for a total of $1,604,375. And again, these figures were based on proposals from vendors as well as the building condition survey, which is a fairly comprehensive survey conducted by the district's architect every 5 years. And some of these projects were outlined in that report that was given to us. So these will all be incorporated into our maintenance plan and our budget. And the projects, the totals listed above and the projects that I'll speak of in a moment, all make up 50% of the annual maintenance budget. So for next school year 26-27, at the high school, we're going to be adding additional PA speakers to bathrooms and other areas to improve emergency communication. Over at Wading River and at the Miller Avenue building, which we will do every year for the next 5 years, it's our normal maintenance, is to provide and maintain proper wood, playground wood fiber mulch depths. That's for safety. 26-27, we plan to seal coat and restripe the Miller Avenue parking lot. Similarly, over at Wading River and the middle school, we will add additional PA speakers to provide additional coverage for emergency communication. In the 27-28 school year, we will be seal coating the Wading River parking lot and striping that and providing the proper wood fiber mulch depths at the Miller Avenue and Wading River schools. In year 3, 2028-2029, again, we will be providing the wood fiber at both of the elementary schools, as I mentioned before. We're going to be adding additional plumbing isolation valves that'll help us in a, God forbid, emergency and routine maintenance, all again to provide a smooth and safe school day. And that's over at the middle school. To improve safety and security, we're going to provide additional card access to all of the network switch cabinets throughout the high school. The plan is to install a retaining wall on the hill between the JV baseball field and the tennis courts here at the high school, and replace at the Wading River School an oil-fired water heater. In year 4, 2029-30, again, the wood fiber at both of the elementary school playgrounds. We will be providing air conditioning for any of the remaining data switch cabinets here at the high school to ensure that that equipment stays at a proper operating temperature. We'll be refinishing the floor over at the middle school stage and seal coating and restriping the middle school basketball court. Then similarly, as we did at the middle school the year prior, we'll be installing additional plumbing isolation valves over at the Wading River School. In last year 5 of this plan, 2030-31, again, the wood fiber at both of the elementary school playgrounds for safety. We're going to be repairing, replacing, and updating here the stage equipment, the stage rigging for the high school stage. We're going to be installing an ADA sidewalk to connect the JV baseball field to the tennis courts. And we'll be providing a projector, screen, computer, cabling, and speakers to provide additional and improved instructional space here at the high school for the library. So to summarize our 5-year capital plan, the 2021 capital reserve will be funding the replacement of the turf and the track here at the Kootenella Field at the high school. It'll also be providing the technology infrastructure and fiber optic cabling replacement over the next 5 years as needed. It'll also be funding the Wading River School partial window and door replacements, and the Prodell Middle School Science and Rise Room renovations for a total of $6,879,501. Over the next 5 years, our maintenance plan will be providing additional PA speakers for better coverage throughout the district for emergency and regular communication, providing additional card access to the network switch closets and any other areas that similar areas. We'll be seal coating and line striping parking lots and sports courts. We'll be updating and replacing stage rigging, mulch replacements at the playgrounds, and a water heater replacement for a total of $1,604,375. This provides a cumulative total for the next 5 years of $8,483,876. Any questions?
Yeah, and just a clarification, thank you, Mr. Rossini. Just so everyone's aware, the 2021 capital reserve is already voter approved. These are the dollars that have been set aside and already allocated toward these projects. Just wanted to have you confirm that.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
I
The
apologize
5-year
if that
maintenance
wasn't
plan,
clear.
sorry?
I
Did
said I
miss something?
apologize if it wasn't clear.
No, that's right. I just want to make sure for everyone's knowledge. Then the 5-year maintenance plan, the way to think about that is, that's really the monies that are in our general fund annually for maintenance. Is that how to think about it?
Yes, and the district has captured half of those funds that are currently in the budget for maintenance and developed a plan for the use of half. The other half is open for any emerging needs on a year-to-year basis.
Got it. So these are allocated funds in our maintenance budget, if you will, for the next 5 years. That's how to think about that then.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I sit on the Space and Facilities Committee, part of the building conditions survey, and watch us go through these items. So I've been part of this process, so I'm very familiar with it. I'll open it up to the board. Does anyone have any questions on the 5-year capital plan summary?
I just had a question about the estimates from BCS. Do those change based on from when they did the initial assessment to when we start to break ground on some of those projects?
They have a built-in escalation for the 5 years that the plan is good for. So their BCS was done, and for the 5 years preceding the BCS, those numbers hold steady.
Thanks.
Mr. Perez, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. So the building condition survey that BDS did was 24 or 25? When did they do that?
24.
In 24. Okay, so they'll
2024.
redo that. Now, I think there are interim building condition surveys that we do throughout the year, or am I mistaken about that? I think,
The
Right.
24 is the one that's required by the state.
so that's the 5-year one?
Yes.
Okay, so right now, we have scheduled is one that would probably happen, not scheduled, but we're anticipating would happen in 2030, right?
Yeah, the state outlines which district are to provide within that 5-year. So in 29 is when we're going to be submitting our next
Okay.
5-year plan.
Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Rossini, when it comes to the capital reserve projects we have planned for the summer of 2026, from a timing perspective, if we started in the summer for the high school track and field replacement, how long does that typically take to replace the surface areas for both of those? Would it limit access for the entire summer, or just want to get some clarity on the time frame?
I think our initial assessments from the two independent vendors is somewhere about 6 to 8 weeks. It's fairly a good chunk of time in the summer.
Okay, and then also, I think you might have mentioned, maybe I missed it, when it comes to the partial window and door replacement, that's also anticipated for the summer of 2026?
No, that one I left out of date. That one has a very long lead time. So that will be done as soon as possible. It also may be done overnights and weekends, one room at a time. And that schedule will get dictated as operational, as well as we can with the operation of the school.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to offer, any other questions from the board on the 5-year capital? I did want to compliment you for restoring our gym with everything that happened at the end of the summer. I did want to give you a shout out, Ms. Rossini, for overseeing that project and ensuring that the the gym was open for really the winter basketball and other sports that we had. So I know that was an awesome undertaking on behalf of you and the administration, so thanks for doing that. So just wanted to say thank you.
You're very welcome.
And the gym looks beautiful. The high school gym looks amazing. Good stuff. Okay, great. Continuing onward. Now we have Mr. Glenn Arcuri, who will give us a district reserve update. Good evening, Mr. Arcuri.
As is done as previous years, as Mr. Poole stated earlier, we typically present the status of the district reserve balances at the start of budget season. So we're getting started a little bit earlier, and it is important to point out that all of the data shared this evening is part of the district's annual external audit from the 2024-2025 school year, reviewed by the audit committee members on October 23rd, and then the Board of Education adopts the external audit report on October 28th, and then it is submitted to the state. So what I list here for you is the reserve balances as of June 30th, 2023, in order to get a little bit of a basis of how our reserve balances have actually changed over a 2-year period. We've actually seen a reduction in reserve balances of about 45.25%. So what that's basically saying is we are continually, for the past 2 years, relying on one-time savings in order to offset recurring costs. For these two reserve accounts, the Employee Benefits Accrued Liability Reserve and the 2021 Capital Reserve, the voters must approve any expenditure out of the 2021 capital reserve. And as far as the Employee Benefits Accrued Liability Reserve, the district can only access those funds in order to make separation payments related to salary-related items. So when an employee leaves the district, if they are entitled to a payout of accrued sick time, accrued vacation time, we are able to use funds from that particular reserve to make those payments. However, any type of a retirement incentive that may be included inside of a collective bargaining agreement, since that is a retirement incentive, the law does not allow us to access funds within this reserve in order to make those payments. So as I have listed there, what is the use plan for 2025-26? We currently do not have that value. We will typically calculate that sometime around May and then come to the Board of Education asking for authorization to utilize funds from this reserve in order to make those separation payments.
Mr. Arcuri, that's a restricted reserve then, just to clarify?
That is. These two are two restricted reserves. I'm also going to back up quickly. I just actually jumped a little bit too fast through 2 more points on this particular slide here. The reserves here are also restricted reserves, as they could only be used for the assignment that the funds are assigned to, and it could only be applied as a revenue source to the maximum expenditure amount for that given reserve item. So if you take for the ERS reserve, for the 25-26 budget, which is this year's current budget, we used $1 million as a revenue source from this reserve. The actual expenditure from the 24-25 school year for the employee retirement system reserve was $1,040,000. So that is an important context, so that even though there's a balance greater than the actual expenditure amount, even if we were to apply additional money as a revenue source, at the end of that operational year, we are required to return any unused reserve revenue back to the reserve account. So again, it goes to what do we set as a revenue budget as the start of the year, and then at the end of the year, what did we actually spend, and how much of that reserve are we able to use? Funds, in order to make additions to any of the reserve accounts, requires Board of Education authorization. So anytime we're funding reserves, we typically come to the Board of Education. We say we anticipate having surplus funds at the end of the school year, and we are looking to return funds back to the reserve accounts in order to help offset future operating costs. Again, though, it is important to point out, from June 30th, 2023 to July 1st, 2025, we have used 45% of our district reserves within those 2 years. Debt service fund, even though this actually looks like a reserve account, they just call it something different. So at the time we were doing the 2015 bond work, any interest earned or any premium received at the time of bond closing, the district has to take those earnings, put them into a specific fund, and we could only use those funds to apply as a support to pay that debt service payment. So we were able to accrue originally a little bit less than $600,000 in both interest and premium on the $33 million borrowed. We began using the debt service fund in June of 2023 in order to offset some of our debt service payment inside of the last two operating budgets. So again, for this fund itself, within that 2-year window, we also went down by 43.4%.
Mr. Kerr, just confirm, so this can only be used, this fund can only be used to service debt, so i.e. our bond payment, for example?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to clarify for the folks.
Yep.
Okay.
And in our case, our bond payment is $2,675,000. So for this upcoming school year, meaning developing the 26-27 budget, we do have the option to apply the full $333,772 as a one-shot revenue, knowing that for the 27-28 year, we're going to have to make up that value. So we're trying to spread it out over a longer period of time in order to reduce spikes. However, the option exists in order to get through a year.
Use it.
We do have the ability to use the full $333,772. As far as appropriating fund balance, we first have to understand fully what is appropriated fund balance. Fund balance is a term used in governmental accounting as what are surplus funds available. So where does the district have surplus funds? So the district develops a budget. The budget's on the expenditure side, and then there's the revenue side. How do you pay for that budget? The budget is the maximum amount of money that the district is able to spend inside of that given year. So we never have intention on fully spending the budget ever. That isn't the goal. So anytime there's surplus funds, the district comes back to the Board of Education and says, okay, we have X dollars left. We want to send some money back to these reserve accounts, or in the case for 25-26, the district said, we're going to apply an additional $1,066,998 in 24-25 budget savings in order to add additional revenue. And at the time, it was related to the exorbitant increase the Board of Education had to accept with a single respondent related to our contract transportation. So we saw a $1.3 million increase in transportation costs. There is no way to add that to the tax levy. There is not a levy exclusion for transportation costs. So in order to balance the 25-26 budget, the decision at that time was increase our appropriation of savings from $4,766,000 to $5,833,000. The Office of the State Comptroller cautions any local government to be cognizant out of using non-recurring revenue to offset recurring expenditures. Unassigned fund balance, again, another term that the media titles this. This is called the rainy day fund. This is what is a local government allowed to keep as emergency funding. We are allowed to keep, under New York state law, no more than 4% of the following year's budget as our rainy day fund. So we keep $3,572,000 as our rainy day fund. So if you look at our fund balance in totality, you take your 4% rainy day fund and then take your unappropriated fund balance. That's all of the additional money that the district has that is, quote, not a specific reserve, not a specific fund. The district has flexibility how they go to apply that money as a revenue source. Any questions on fund balance, unappropriated fund balance, before we jump to the next piece?
Glenn, just to clarify,
Sure.
for folks who are probably trying to follow along, so the unassigned fund balance is our rainy day fund.
Yes.
The only other unassigned fund balance, can you show me which slide that is again versus the appropriated? Is that on one of your slides?
If I get the back button?
Yeah.
So the appropriated fund balance, since we're able to use surplus money as a general revenue source, so you're not tied, such as the ERS reserve, you could only use the maximum amount that you're actually spending out of that reserve. This line here is not tied to a specific expenditure. It's a general use of dollars applied as a revenue source to an entire budget.
Okay, thank you.
Again, this is a slide to try to articulate prudent fiscal management. Our tax levy increase average over the past 7 years has been 1.78%, and our year-to-year expenditure increase over 7 years has been 2.30%. So again, it continues to tell us the point where 80% of our revenue comes from the tax base. The tax levy limit is a formula that we are required to follow. If we look to go above that limit, the district is required to then consider what's called piercing, which requires a 60% plus one passing rate in order to get funds above the allowable levy limit. We have not looked to do that to date, but it's clear here that when you continuously bring in tax levy revenue at a rate less than expenditure growth, eventually you're going to have additional revenue or cut back on additional costs. Jumping to a quick summary for 2024-25. Again, as Mr. Poole mentioned earlier, the information here is required. This is just a small piece of what is required to be advertised inside of a public notice inside of the district's local paper. This information here was one of the highlights of the October 23rd Audit Committee meeting, where the partner of Cullen and Danowski, Mr. Christopher Reno, presented to the committee the external audit findings for 24-25 school year and started that presentation out with that evening. This is the first year the district saw deficit spending, which is actual expenditures exceeded actual revenues since 2009. So it is the first time that the district is getting its awareness to say, hey, wait a second, costs are rising at a pace faster than the district's recurring revenue is able to keep pace with. Granted, for 24-25, it's only $166,000, but it is awareness to say, well, reserve balances are down by 45%, your debt service fund is down by 43%, all within a 2-year window. Take notice in order to understand everything is rising faster than that revenue is coming in. Any questions on anything on this particular slide here? To not skew the expenditure data, we did subtract out the one-time expenditure related to the transfer to capital. It is unfair to use a one-time expense knowing that it's not a recurring expense inside of the budget, because if we did not subtract it out, you would be looking at a $1.8 million deficit. So it's really unfair to keep that piece in. So that's why that was subtracted out, to truly show operational revenue versus operational expenditures. If we take this a step further, you know, we are partially through the 2025-26 school year. Continuously, I am asked, well, where do you see the year ending? June 30th, 2026. I say, that's a wonderful, great question. I wish I actually had a full answer for it. But what we do know for 25-26, presented during the budget process, was all the details on the left side of this particular slide here, showing that the year-to-year change in contract transportation was $1,247,000, a single respondent for a mandated service. The district does not have the option tomorrow to say, 26-27 budget, we're going to cancel transportation. The state does not allow that. Any changes in transportation require voter approval and needs to be done a year earlier. So if the district had any consideration to eliminate transportation for the 28, 29, 27, 28 school year, we would have to put a ballot item up this May and have the voters approve that in order to cancel transportation. So considering that transportation right now is a mandated expense for the Shoreham-Wading River District, if we look at it in simple terms, 24-25, we ended in a deficit. 25-26 tax levy increased $1,153,302. That tax levy alone, that increase, is not large enough to cover the increase in transportation costs, let alone all the other expenditure categories that are contractually required to be paid. So we could definitely assume 25-26 will end again in a deficit spending position, and it will be larger than the $166,000 that was in 24-25. Any questions on anything that I presented tonight, or?
So curious, so the transportation cost increase, does that take into consideration the new EV mandate coming down from the state, or is that not?
No, sir. This particular RFP that was issued does not have anything related to the electric vehicle mandate or the zero emission bus mandate. The only thing the contract would have to comply with is any buses that they purchase. This is a 5-year award, so it's 2025 to 2030. Any buses that the bus company would purchase for the district that is to replace a bus greater than 7 years of age would have to be an electric bus after 2027. But according to the way the RFP was structured, they are not, they'll have buses in there to get us through 2030 without having to make any purchases for our district.
Anyone else? Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curie. Okay. Next up, we have our votes and resolutions. May I get a motion for approval of our December 9th, 2025 regular public meeting minutes? Mike and Henry, I think you're abstaining on this one. So may I get a motion? Jim Lockhart and then Katie. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? So it'll be 4. Let me think about this. 4. 5, excuse me. I'm sorry. I can't do math. 5 and 1. 1 abstain, basically, Georgette, on that. Next up will be our approval of our November 2025 Treasurers Report. May I get a motion, please? Jim Smith, Jim Lockhart. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. Next up, we have our curriculum and instruction resolutions. There are 4 of these, 2526-094 through 2526-097. Is it okay if I take these as a block? Yes. Okay. May I get a motion? Henry, second Jim Smith. All in favor? 6-0. I want to thank the Wading River PTA for the generous donation toward Mr. Josh Winter to create a mosaic in the library courtyard. I think that'll be a beautiful addition to the school. Thank you for that. Thank you to the PTA. Great. Next up, really just personnel, right? Yeah, we're right, personnel. May I get a motion for personnel tonight? Jim Smith? Can I get a second? Jim Lockhart, all in favor? 6-0 on personnel. Okay, any communications, Ms. Kirschus? Any additional comments from residents? Okay.
Make your way to the podium, state your name for the record and your address, please.
Is Mr. Staff here? Okay. As you're walking up, I just want to remind you there's a 3-minute time period that you'll have to speak at the podium, and our district clerk will monitor your time. Thank you. It doesn't start till you start.
Good evening. My name is Scott Ginther, 57 Farm Road West in Wading River. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Good. All right. The first thing I'd like to discuss is a motion for a monorail system in Wading River. No, I'm just kidding. We need to solve this transportation issue. I'd be happy to volunteer to drive it. I'm here to comment on the contractual situation in the district. I have a short statement to read. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've always been a proud Wading River parent. The district and community have a lot to offer, and it has proven to be a great place to raise kids. Further proven by the video shown earlier tonight, of which my daughter was the narrator. So, great planning to the planning committee. Thank
Good timing.
So thank you all for your part in making this a good place to raise kids. You all play a role, and I do appreciate that. I want that to be known. Unfortunately, the inability for the Shoreham-Wading River teachers to renew their contract is very frustrating. For all of us, I'm sure. Let me be clear, I'm not proud of the fact that my kids' teachers are among the lowest paid on the island. That is nothing that I think any of us should be happy about. I think it comes with a ticket on the side of it, which I won't comment on. On top of that, the rumored one-year contract offered by the district suggests that there are fiscal problems. I think we just saw examples of that and where that's heading. Offering our teachers a contract that isn't competitive with others around the island has repercussions. I think a lot of us parents have seen the repercussions this year. We can pretend they're not there, but they are. Shoreham-Wading River teachers are being asked to come to work for less, and now are being offered a one-year deal. They are being kicked while they are down. Sure, outrageous insurance costs, transportation costs, rising utility costs, state, federal funding threats are all real problems, but these are problems that all districts are facing. Yet we are the only district floating a one-year deal that I could find, and I have pretty good access to the other districts. With this being said, I'm simply going to ask that you continue your hard work on addressing all the issues that surround the SWR budget. But please, don't put the weight of the fiscal uncertainty on the backs of our teachers. They don't deserve it.
Thank you, Ms. Curtis. Who do we have next?
Ready?
I'm ready.
Good evening. I'm George Roberts, 75 Cambridge Court, Wading River, and I too am speaking in regard to contract matter. I'm also a proud SWR parent. My son Andrew is a sophomore, and my daughter Caitlin recently graduated last year and now attends Northeastern University in Boston. I am also the proud husband of Mrs. Roberts, one of SWR's many dedicated and highly respected teachers. I'm a mortgage banker, and I've helped many families purchase homes in our community. People move for many reasons, but the majority that move here say that they chose SWR for our schools. This includes my own family. We chose to move here almost 10 years ago for our children's education. Our teachers are the foundation of our highly respected and desired blue ribbon school district that people seek out. We have all benefited from it by increased home values. I ask that the board reach a timely agreement that honors our teachers' contributions and commitment to our schools. Please endeavor to reach a deal that's comparable in pay to our neighboring districts. We are a blue ribbon school district. Our neighbors are not. In order to recruit and retain excellent teachers, we must offer competitive pay versus our neighboring districts, not be in the bottom third where we presently are. On behalf of our entire community and future homeowners, please give our teachers a fair contract now. Thank you very much, and once again, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Ms. Curtis?
Yes, hi. Nicole Callahan, can you please come to the podium? State your name and address.
sorry. Hi, I'm Nicole Callahan. My address is 3 Gabriel Mills Road in Wading River. Sorry, I'm not much of a public speaker, but first I want to thank you all for allowing me the time to speak. It's my first in-person board meeting, and I appreciate the opportunity being heard. I want to briefly speak on UPK, or the lack thereof, within our district. We are one of the only school districts on Long Island without UPK. I believe we are one of 3 and the only district in Suffolk County lacking in this crucial developmental program. I'm a mother of a child who greatly benefited from UPK in a different district before we moved to Shoreham-Wading River, and it changed his educational trajectory for the better. He ended up needing an IEP, and his need was identified early on because of his because of his opportunity to attend UPK. I have an even younger son, whom I would like to give the same advantage to. Our money goes towards other districts that have these programs through New York State grants. So we are paying for other districts to have UPK, but we in ourselves do not. We are not taking advantage of these grants. It hurts we have future Shoreham-Wading River students needing to attend a private UPK fully funded by the family, which is a great deal of money and a great privilege, sitting next to a child from a neighboring district who outsources their UPK to that same center, who is not being paid for by their family, but being fully funded by the school district. These issues brought up year after year, no solutions are presented, program is too expensive, there's not enough room, per pupil cap is too low. I know that there was an attempt to change the student cap past spring, didn't hear much about it. Ultimately, I hope that these issues represent roadblocks that are to be addressed, not to serve as excuses. We need to focus on advancement and accountability. But with that being said, I do know how to read a room, and I wish to speak on the struggles of these extraordinary people and these teachers that have done so much for my family and this community. The fight for UPK is very similar to what these teachers are fighting for. They want a roadmap, a plan, and accountability. And what does the roadmap look like to make this happen, to have these teachers be paid properly? Is it in raising taxes? Nobody wants to talk about raising taxes because it's too taboo, but if that's what it means to have these amazing people be paid what they deserve, then it needs to happen. I believe in, as I hope our community does, investing in our children, which also means directly investing in our teachers. We have had the privilege of hearing about achievements and accomplishments, both on a personal level and a school-wide level, things athletics, scholastic, schemia, and beyond, during this very meeting. Achievements and accomplishments that could partially be attributed to the opportunities that these students were afforded in our exceptional school district by our equally exceptional staff. While we will never be able to pay these teachers what they truly deserve, I ask you to stop insulting them by offering them less than a cost of living increase. Good faith negotiations and accountability will go a long way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Callahan. Based on that, we just need to adjourn our meeting. May I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Katie first, second. Jim Lockhart. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor? 6-0. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.